Of course, you cannot certainly know the past of the woman with whom you started communicating. You may hear facts that make you feel great, and typically these are stories about how white and fluffy she is. If a woman has had countless men in the past, but she thinks that you are an average man, she will most likely tell you that she has had many men in the past. You should not believe what a woman tells you about the past, especially when she is no longer a young girl. But why struggle to find out a woman's past? What's this all about? When you begin to comprehend the past of a woman you are in a relationship with, you save a lot of time because you begin to realize exactly what she used to be like. Normally, women don't change over time. They remain the same as they were before. She might just seem so white and fluffy to you for a short time, but eventually that truth or her real nature will come out. Hypocritical behavior and deception in a relationship need to be dealt with. That is why I'm going to discuss with you different ways to find out the truth about how many men a woman has had in the past. Another reason to find out how many men she has is to understand the possibility that your relationship will also come to an end simply because of her. If she has dumped men in the past, you might absolutely be no exception, but you may not notice it now because she portrays herself to be so good. Agreed, being dumped is always painful and may affect your self-esteem extremely badly. When you find out how many guys she has truly had, you must be careful with her and not have too many plans for the future. This woman who has had more than enough men should always be under a question mark concerning establishing a committed relationship. Always be prepared to face the reality that such a woman might betray you at any moment. Paradoxically, a woman who goes through multiple relationships considers the relationship less strong with each breakup. The first several men a woman can still as soon as ever appreciate, but thereafter she will care less about her new man. You might not be able to acknowledge this on the surface, but in reality, it will be true. If she's had 10 lovers and you're the 11th, do not expect any special attention, particularly if you're the most ordinary. For a woman, relationships are like narcotics. The more frequently she is a part of them, the less enjoyable they are. A woman is such a creature that often requires additional attention, so you need to be careful. A woman can be everything to you, and you can be just a short-term amusement to her if she has dated many men. If she has had numerous guys, she already has a track record of taking advantage of men to her benefit. She will from beginning to end understand what leverage you need to pull in order to make you fall for her and invest. If you have little to no experience in relationships with women and she has too much, there is almost a 99% chance that she will twist and turn you as she wants. You have to develop psychological skills, learn how to analyze people and study them. The good thing is that many women act on emotions and intuition, so identifying certain clues on their part is not very difficult. Therefore, to save your time and not fall for the woman that many men have been in, you need to understand the frequent signals in a relationship that will tell you what's happening. If you truly need a woman with a cleaner past, you need to be able to cut off those women who have had numerous men. By the way, I want to debunk the common misconception that the fewer lovers a woman has had in the past, the better she is. It is not a fact that if a woman has a good past, she will be as good. She may have an intolerable temper from the time of birth. She might be a narcissist or a manipulator. And occasionally it's also the case that a woman will reconsider her actions, particularly if she has been dumped and left. If that's actually true, if she's been overturned by fate, then she may draw certain conclusions and become more suitable in the context of relationships. Now I will discuss with you 5 strategies. I would even talk about women's random mistakes that they make in a relationship, which indicate that she has had numerous men in her past. Sometimes, even without knowing a woman in person, you might realize that she has had multiple lovers in the past. All you need to do is get access to her social media accounts. It used to be challenging for men to find out a woman's past, but nowadays it is easy because of the internet. The very first thing you might notice when you check out her page is the activity in the form of likes and comments. Typically, when I notice a woman has a lot of activity, particularly among men, I instantly realize that she has interaction with other men, and if there was interaction, then maybe intimacy. If you think that your girlfriend has 300 likes under her latest post, of which 70% are men, and she is not interacting with anybody, then you are naive. She in any way has or is interacting with or even backing up with numerous men. So the simplest thing to do, which doesn't involve your investigative skills, is to look at her page. It is a big lie if she says she's not associating with anyone, yet there's quite reasonable activity among people under her post. When I'm not connecting with people, it's evident from my page that I'm not communicating with others, since I'd only have a few likes. If your girlfriend says the exact thing but there is a lot of activity, this is cheating. Second, she frequently says that it's not your fault alone, but everybody's fault when she's unhappy about anything. For example, if she says, "You men are all the same." If she didn't have past experiences, she surely would not express herself in that manner. Normal men do exactly the same thing if they have had experience with toxic relationships. They will say things like, "All women are fools," and so on. Third, she has a wealth of sexual experience. If sex is important to you, and the woman performs the most fantastic thing in bed, then that's good. But if you analyze it from a relationship point of view, I would be afraid that she has some expertise and skill. It doesn't come from nowhere. If she's performing the most lewd things in bed, then she certainly learned it from more than one or two men. Sex techniques are never an intrinsic talent. They are an attribute that comes with experience, particularly for a woman. Sex experiences can tell you how many men a woman has had. Fourth, she is uncomfortable speaking about her past, or when the topic of her exes comes up, she immediately changes the topic of discussion. Occasionally, a woman wants to hide the past from you by every means possible and is prepared to go to extreme measures to do so. She just may not want to make up different stories about what happened before, about how she was tender and fluffy, and about how she had been dumped and betrayed. She might simply tell you that she does not want to be reminded of the past, and that the topic of the past brings her terrible emotions. If that's the case, she might just be ashamed to tell you how many lovers she's actually had before. This is definitely the best thing a woman can do if she has truly had numerous men in the past. If she won't talk about it, then she's striving to forget about it. The worst thing that can happen to you is when she is in a relationship with you but still has thoughts of the ex in her mind. That's a brutal act of hypocrisy. And lastly, the further along in the relationship you have, the more you begin discovering the fact that she has an acquaintance among men. If at first you believed she didn't actually know any other men at all, and then it comes out that she had many acquaintances, and more of them every month of the relationship, that should be a red flag. There are two endings to relationships, particularly toxic ones. First, over the duration of the relationship, you discover a lot of negative behaviors if you've been hiding them. And the second end is time, since the longer you are in a toxic relationship, the more time you lose.